Hello, hello. Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining. I can see you all coming in. Okay, fantastic. Hey. Good to see you. I can see our special guest is here as well. I shall do the intro and then let him in. So, hello everyone and welcome to Social Sundays with Ghana.365. My name is Raquel Appiah and I will be hosting this evening's live. I am so excited. We have a super special guest for our second ever Social Sundays. But before we begin, just wanted to let you know a bit about the platform Ghana 365. It's a platform that seeks to showcase the best of Africa and its diasporans. Us in the diaspora, those on the ground in Ghana, on the motherland. We are all about showcasing the best of Ghana. This is what this platform is all about. You can check us out at Ghana-365.com as well and sign up to our newsletter to keep up to date with all the amazing things that we are doing. We love sharing the best places to eat, sleep and live in Ghana. Well, all things Ghana. Very proud Ghanaians. So yeah. Without further ado, I am going to bring on our special guest. All right. Let's see. The man himself. Hello.
Raquel, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you, Kwan?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Good to have you. Thank you so much
for
being here today. Listen, the people are excited. The comments are already going off. I'm seeing fire, applause, emojis, everything.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's really nice. They're showing lots of love.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. Absolute pleasure. Before we get into it, I just want to, for those who may not have come across you and what you do, I'm just going to, give a brief bio, but obviously we'll get into it more. So, for those who don't know, we have Kwabena Asay Amoetem, who hails from Ijisu in the Ashanti region, the hometown of Ya Asantwa. And it was here he did his first land deal. So it is, I guess, no surprise that he's the visionary and founder behind Asarci, a land acquisition, due diligence, growth and strategy company. He has a master's level graduate from UCL and has been a C-level executive in the regulated online sports betting and casino industry for 10 years in the UK. And he's also a property and business investor in London. So he's owned and operated telecom call centers in the UK. And he, like I said before, he has vast experience in land matters in Ghana and has been investing himself in land for over 20 years. And what we love about him is that he's fiercely passionate and he's a proud African and Ghanaian, and he has traveled the world and he sees Asarci and the responsibility that goes with it as part of his calling and obligation. Like, that's just amazing. It's just power, literally. That's all I think of when I read that bio, honestly. So yeah, welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome. So I've read that long bio, of all the amazing things you've done, but who is Kwab?
Yeah, Kwabna is I'm a 39-year-old Ghanaian living in London, born and raised in London, and as the bio said, I'm very, very passionate about a few things in my life, namely my family, and then also Ghana. And not just Ghana, I class myself as an African before I'm a Ghanaian. So like many of us, I was born outside. I've had a pretty cool life in London. Those of you that are not living in London, London's an incredible city. People live here generally in harmony. You get a chance to mix with lots of different backgrounds, but the fact remains you're still a foreigner in foreign lands. And some of us are from such an incredible place like Ghana and other African nations that I always feel that it's very, very important that we remember our heritage and we pay due respect to that. So As you said, I've had quite a long career in the corporate world. I was a qualified pharmacist many, many moons ago. Did that probably 15, 16 years ago. I practiced for about 7 years. And then I went into the online sports betting industry and the casino industry. But I've always known that land is probably going to be somewhere that I settle in the sort of latter half of my career.
Yeah, so yeah, how did that come about? Because you know, you have a corporate background, you're based in London. How you know, have you managed to get yourself all the way in Africa and dealing in land now?
Yeah, you know, property has been in my blood for a long, long time. Probably my brothers were on this call. From the age of sort of 4 or 5, our earliest memories would go with our parents to their properties that they had in North London. So from time immemorial, I just remember always doing things related to property, renting, tenants. And I've been obviously going to Ghana for about 22 years now consistently. And land is something that I don't know, I've always got a big, big passion about. So over and above the sort of estate development, and it was my granddad in '98 that sort of explained to me the importance of ownership of land. It was me and my other brother, and he explained that if we can, we should always try and obtain and acquire land in Ghana. Because the potential there is pretty huge.
Fantastic, fantastic. So that's how you've come to set up.
Yep.
That's it. Am I saying it right?
You're saying it pretty wrong. It's Asarci. And Asarci actually, yeah, Asarci is actually the tree word for land. Some people call it Mother Earth.
Okay.
So it was pretty poignant, and it was a good choice of name. Obviously, we've spelled it phonetically so that people that don't speak tree can sort of pronounce it.
Oh.
Hopefully, pretty right. But yeah, Asarci means land. Asarci means Mother Earth. Mother Earth is the thing that sort of brings forth life. It brings forth all the things that we eat. It brings forth the places that we live. So it's extremely important that we have our share, and we know the history of Africa. Yeah. So often our land has been disposed of in the wrong way, and also to foreigners. So it's important that some of us make the effort to safeguard it for our future generations.
I love that. I love that. And, you know, I see you doing that with the projects, you know, that you're working on in Ghana, and we will come onto those projects. But I mean, what comes to mind is even down to road naming. Yeah. You know, I mean, tell us about that process and how you think about it.
Yeah, that project came about sort of early last year. I'm building a property in Ghana, and one of the things I feel is that a lot of people build houses and they sort of concentrate. They've got a tunnel vision on themselves, and they never really want to put anything in the area that's long lasting. And for those of us that go to Ghana a lot, we know that one of the main things that annoys us is that it's very hard to find places and people. It's a big, big drain on our efficiency in Africa. Obviously, Ghana, the central areas, the capital, the sort of centre of town, all the roads are named. But as soon as you go slightly into the suburbs, people haven't made the effort. The government and the municipal councils haven't made the effort. So I said to myself, that will be something that I can put down in that area. The area is called 24 Hills. So you have sort of East Legon Hills at the north end, and you've got 24 Hills on the southern end. Okay. And, yeah, I took the opportunity and I took the initiative. I think I named about 30 roads. I wasn't going to name them after anybody that didn't deserve the credit. We've got so many soldiers, so many heroes and sheroes in our community. Some of them have passed, but they're still living. And some of these individuals never had a chance to visit Mother Africa. So as far as I was concerned, this was a nice way to honour them and to make sure that they live forever. And I think the most important thing with the road naming is that I had this sort of vision or inspiration that especially the children that live in the area, some of these names would be English names, foreign names, and we put signboards up on every single road name. So we described what these individuals had done for us. And I hope that the children, as they grow old and they see these names, hopefully they will inspire them to emulate some of these individuals, because they're serious, serious OGs. These are people that have gone to war for us. They're scholars, historians, politicians, military people, intellects, people that have just done justice by our community. So I wanted to honour them. And we managed to get some of them onto Google Maps, someone onto Iron Maps. So now, if you're going to the area, you've got Malcolm X, you've got Marcus Garvey, you've got Walter Rodney, you've got Francis Cresswell Singh, you've got Chancellor Williams, you've got Fela Kuti, you've got Amos Wilson, you've got all the OGs that deserve the credit, and they're there. So yeah, that was a gift to the community, as it were.
That is amazing, and just proves the point that, you know, we need, in order to exercise this type of power and influence, you know, to bring the changes we want to see, you know, we have to go back. We have to acquire. We must own.
Yeah.
And so that is, you know, exactly the point of Asarci. So if you can just tell us more about Asarci and your current project that you have going on in Prampram.
Yeah, Asarci is first and foremost, put the land aside. It's rooted in ideology, and the ideology says this: that as long as you're a black man or woman, your heritage is in Africa. And with everything happening in the Western world, there's what I call risk here for us. We have great life here. We have the trinkets of this society, but it's rooted in the ideology that says that if you're able to, at some point in your lifetime, you definitely should consider owning land in Ghana, maybe building, providing some sort of insurance for your children and your grandchildren. You know, the so-called civilized nations and people of this world, they don't live for today or tomorrow. Yeah. They live for 2, 3, 4 generations down the line. Yeah. So if you have that sort of vision, you care about your grandchildren, you care about your great-grandchildren, you care about your nieces and nephews. Yeah. And therefore, I feel like if people are able to, if people have that spirit, then why shouldn't they have a way to own land in Ghana? Now, it doesn't just apply to Ghana. I know many of the people watching this are not from Ghana, and they're from the West Indies or they're from Nigeria, but Africa is for us. Yeah. And for me, it's like, I feel like owning land back home is very, very difficult. It's quite challenging, very challenging. Yeah. My job and the team's job is to make it look easy in a way, but to provide a path. The other important thing is that Asarci is not just me. It's a team of people. I've got some very, very serious people working with me, people that care about us and people that want to do justice in their lifetime. And for me, land is my contribution, my way of contributing to that. You contribute to that. Ghana 365 contribute to that, and there's many other people that contribute to this wider struggle and this wider effort. Yeah. But, there is no doubt that Ghana has a fantastic future. It's a beautiful place. So it was early last year that I decided that it was something I wanted to do seriously. So from probably about April, May, we started planning. I've got staff in Ghana. I've got some staff here in London. I've got people in America. I've got someone in Nigeria. I have a Nigerian sister working for me in Ghana, and we all contribute to trying to do justice by this offering, service, product. So there's 4 sites, but the one that I'm concentrating on is in Prampram. Right. The one I can't spread myself too thin. Yeah. And I have to make sure that the effort goes into the place which I think has the best value long term. And Prampram's badass. It's as simple as that. People that go to Ghana, we party in Accra. We go to Tema sometimes. The people that really know Ghana, we go and party in Tema, and that's all well and good. But the reality is, Accra is very, very expensive. It's very difficult to find land. Tema's pretty choked. Again, all the land is gone. Yeah. So like most of us that live in major cities, you have to consider like your options going further out. Yeah. And even most of us that have bought property wherever we are, we always look back and say we should have probably gone a mile or 2 even further out to get value, because everywhere is developing so quickly. Yes. So Prampram is a coastal town. It's a beach town. So many people want to live by the coast. You know what the coastal people are like. They're very chilled, it's very clean, and there's new money there. So it means that there's young people coming in with fresh ideas and new ideologies to build up the community in a good way. So we will be bringing a lot of people back home, and it's a blessed project.
Amazing. Sounds amazing. I'm sold just off of that. So can you break down the offerings? So I understand when land is sold, it's sold as a half plot and as a full plot. What does that look like in terms of measurements? What can I get for a half plot? What can I build on it? How does it all work?
Yeah, maybe I'll take it back a step and just to confirm for everybody that if you're a foreigner, you don't have a Ghanaian passport, you are absolutely legally able to own land in Ghana. That's the first thing. The second thing is that for all intents and purposes, land is sold in Ghana on a leasehold basis.
Okay.
So even here, if you buy a property, if you buy a house, it's freehold. But normally if you're buying a flat or an apartment, you're buying a lease, and you have the option to stay in that place for however long the lease is. But Ghana is all land in Ghana for all intents and purposes. So leasehold, there's a few pockets of freehold, but it's extremely rare, and I don't deal in that type of land.
Okay.
So you have the option of acquiring, as you mentioned. I sell plots, half plots and full plots.
Right.
I sell half plots because obviously it's more affordable for people to consider. But more importantly, it's actually now becoming pretty much the standard in Ghana, because people have clocked that if you're buying a half plot and you're sensible with your design, you can build an incredible structure. You can build a wicked house that serves your purposes, that's fit for purpose. Okay. So I feel like it would be pretty naive of us to force the market to go into 1 or 2 plots as a minimum. It obviously depends on your taste. It depends on your plan.
Yeah.
Because all of us have got to have a plan as individuals and as a community. But in a family household, as an individual, you need to have a plan. You need to know what you need for the next 20, 30, 40 years. You should be able to extrapolate where you are and say, right, what's going to work for me? So half a plot is at 325 square meters. A full plot is 650, which is double the size. And just to break that down for you again in feet terms, a plot in Ghana, the standard plots are 100 by 70 feet. Okay. Now, you say these measurements, and a lot of people are just awful with measurements and distance. Yeah. What does it really mean? So I always knew that a big sort of community or a big market of mine would be in America. So how we've compared it is to a tennis court or a basketball court. Most of us have attempted to play a game of tennis in our lifetime. Most of us have seen a basketball court or gone to a b-ball game. And a basketball court is 437 square meters. So a full plot is 650 square meters. It's 40% bigger than a basketball court, NBA standard court. So those people that have been to an NBA game, whatever you saw, is 40% bigger than that. In terms of the half plots, a tennis court is 260 square meters. And a half plot is 325 square meters. Again, it's about 22% bigger than the tennis court. So that's the way we've tried to, because obviously I'm a football fan. I couldn't really compare it to a soccer pitch. It's not really going to flow. So those are the sort of comparisons in terms of size. And I think for people that want to visualize that, obviously we have collateral, marketing collateral, a brochure for the people that have the initiative to take the step and come to our website and register their interest. There's a mechanism which sends them various pieces of information. One of those information is a brochure which shows how the comparison is, and that's a visual representation of it.
That's super helpful. That's an amazing visual. I've never had that before, so that really helps to put things in context. For sure. Okay, so you know, you're clearly stuck in, you know, with things in Ghana. You're doing business, you know, and you're a massive patriot. You're a proud Ghanaian, but what are the challenges you're facing doing business in Ghana?
Yeah, I think it's a cultural thing. You have to have the staying power. You've got to have the passion. You've got to have the love. You've got to have the why. If the why is strong, you will never doubt, you will never shake in terms of what you're doing. Because we are used to things working in a certain way here. Just people operating in the way professionally which we deem to be the norm. But when you go to Ghana, and I'm sure it's the same across Africa, people operate in a different way. So it becomes very frustrating when people don't turn up on time for meetings. Oh, I'm coming at 8 o'clock. No problem, I'm going to be ready. If you're going to be late, just let me know. No problem, boss, no problem. Hour and a half later, you're screaming on the phone, where are you? That happens all the time. And I suppose if you fight against that system, you'll burn up. So that's one thing you learn. The other thing is obviously trust and integrity. It takes a long time to build solid relationships with people. I'm in Ghana obviously all the time. I tend to go 3-4 times a year. I've been doing that for many years. So that's obviously enabled me to sort of weed out the crap and move with the people that are honest and that are straight shooters. I think that You have to be aggressive in a reasonable way to fight for what you want and fight for what's yours.
Yeah.
And there's a saying that my dad always said to me in Ghana, it's like when you're doing business, the minute you trust is sometimes the minute you lost. So you go in with a very clean pair of eyes and you take things on face value, but you operate with your due diligence, and you've got to have your head screwed on. But it's not easy. It's not easy at all. But the rewards for people that, you know, there's so many great businessmen and women in Africa. The market is so big. We've got the youngest demographic in the world. We've got the numbers. Yeah. Ghana's a relatively small country, relatively. I mean, it's 30 million unofficially. Yeah. We've got powerhouses like Nigeria, got 250, 260 million people. The market is huge. So over the next 5, 10, 15 years, as the internet sort of facilitates across West Africa, as logistics facilitate across West Africa, the market for people doing business, services and products is far bigger than the European Union, put it that way. It's very, very big.
Very, very. Okay. So we've got some actual questions coming through.
Yeah, see, I'm trying to follow, but it's a bit tricky.
It is so tricky. Like, the comments are popping off like crazy. I can't even keep up myself. I keep looking down trying to, but but it's a good thing. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
So okay, somebody has asked, do you sell homes as well?
Yeah, so this is an important point. You know, you can try and be the best at everything, and you can claim to be the best at everything, but reality dictates that's not often true. What we specialize in, what we want to be the best in, is selling land. If you don't have the land, you got nothing.
Yeah.
Okay. So land is the most important thing. That's where all of our focus is on it as a team. The business is 6 months old. It will evolve. It will manifest into what it should be. But I know for sure that I want to be the best at selling land in Ghana, for sure. But you can't just sell land and then not offer the option for people to design their homes, build their homes. So the secondary and the tertiary service we have, the first thing is to design a home. Now, the way I look at it is, as I said a few minutes ago, everyone has a different dynamic in their household. Some people are single, some people are engaged, they've got kids, whatever. But you have to think what's good for you. So the starting position of the company was to offer people the option to design their own homes, their own buildings, bespoke. So I have an architect, you provide a scope, and we will bring that vision to life for you because that works for you, okay? So once that design is done, it's full designs, your building plans, your plumbing, your electrical drawings. We have obviously the option to give you your building permits. That's the first thing. And when you've got the land and you see your design for the first time, that's when you really get energized. And then I would say to people, right now it comes to proper planning. Okay. Because so many of us don't have lumps of cash sitting in places to go and dump somewhere 2,000-3,000 miles away. But if you don't start, you can't finish. Once you've got your designs, then the next step is to build. Okay. So I've got an incredible set of builders, people that don't blow smoke up your arse, sorry to say, because that's another thing. If you're building in Africa, we've all had it. Our parents have been sending money to our uncles and our cousins, and they say, oh, uncle, I bought 100 bags of cement, but really he's bought 100, he's using 30 to build his own house. Oh, God. So the next thing is to make sure that we've got an absolutely sort of locked on process that people have clear-cut accountability of what they're paying for, why they're paying for it. And then it's a matter of, again, planning your various stages. The brains of a building is the foundation. If you don't get the foundation right, and that's obviously to be the starting position, the brains is everything. The foundation is like 40-45% of the build. If you don't get that right, you're done. Right. So the foundation obviously is the first step. What you see in terms of a house, like all the brickwork and the block work, we call it, that's nothing. It's absolutely light work. But if you don't get the foundation locked on, some people are building houses, they're very low to the ground. People are not using damp cores, basic things you would expect, people don't do. So the build services come as the third offering. And there's other things that the company will do in and around the property space. I can get into various, I suppose, pockets of this real estate industry, but I'm trying to keep my head screwed on to say that if you try and do too much too soon, you will fold. Things like rentals, so we're about to now start redeveloping our first rental property, which is for people that are going home, because so many people are going home now especially people that have the flexibility, young people, single people,
Yeah.
and they find it difficult to get somewhere to rent. So we want to provide that offering where somebody can come in for short stays, 2 months, 3 months, at a reasonable price, commercially viable for the company, obviously, but somewhere where they're not going to get told, oh, you've got to pay 2 years rent. It's ridiculous. So in terms of selling houses as an agent, if most people are agents, we can get into all of that. But right now, that's not the business model.
Yeah. You have your specialism. But what I love about Asarci is that if you buy from Asarci, you aren't just left alone. You're able to direct them to the right people.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we have them in house, and where there's skill sets that we don't have. So, for example, some of my customers have asked for things like container homes, various types of new type of buildings. We will verify them. I will verify that the individual is stand up, that he speaks the truth, and that his quality of work is what it should be. And once I'm convinced, then I will link them to the people that want that type of service if I don't cover it, because obviously we're not going to be able to do everything. Yeah, that's the plan. I want to stand behind everything, because the buck stops with me.
Yeah, absolutely. And just on that, if you can go into being a land dealer and an agent, just to explain, you know, how you really are at the heart of it, and ensuring that, you know,
I'm glad you mentioned that, because it's something I always talk to people about. It's like people ask me, am I a real estate developer? And obviously, eventually I will be, God willing. But right now I class myself as a land dealer. For me, it's a bit more exciting for me. I never wanted to be an agent. An agent is somebody that goes and takes other people's land and sells it on their behalf and takes a drink for doing it. But I never wanted to do that, because as far as I'm concerned, I'm then relying on somebody else to do justice and speak the truth and have the right land and being genuine, all this sort of stuff that I know is so important. I'm not prepared to take that risk. So all the land I sell, I own. So I'm in control of passing that parcel of land to a customer. And that for me is the defining aspect of being a dealer. I acquire land and then I pass it on. I don't take it from someone else.
Love it. Lovely. Love it. So, I mean, you touched, you know, on the fact that, you know, those of us in the diaspora, you know, we should be owning a piece of the motherland.
If you want.
Should we be moving back, do you think? Do you think that we need to move back in order to contribute to Africa's development?
Such a good question. We don't all have to move back. It's not actually practical. It might not even be needed.
Right.
Yeah? There's so much contribution that can be done for yourself and for the motherland. Being where you are at the end of the day, not everybody has to move back to prove that they're doing something for the motherland. I don't think that's an important notion, because I always talk about reality. The reality is, right now, most of us are entrenched in our normal jobs, day-to-day jobs. We've got family, we've got commitment, and we've got all that sort of stuff. It takes, like, you have to be in a very, very sweet spot to be able to take the big jump and move somewhere else, which many people are doing. But I do believe that so many of us can still contribute in whatever your passion is, whether it's music or entertainment or art or whatever. You can do that from here. And I feel like one of the big things that I always want to make important with any business that I do seriously in Ghana is my ability to do it from London as well. Because I've got a young family here. And I always want to make sure that it's a business that, using technology and using accountability, you can do it from anywhere. People call it digital nomads. You should be able to work from anywhere now with the internet. So I think, the contribution can be made from afar. But should you want a business in Africa, my advice is that, again, as part of your plan, people should probably say to themselves, okay, maybe over the next 18 months or 2 years, I'm going to try and go to Niger 3 times. I'm going to go to Kenya twice. I'm going to go to Ghana like 4 times. You know that you're going to have to invest your own money and your time and your emotion to take that step, because every time you go, you get a new reality and you meet people, you get new connections, and then the whole sum of parts become full. So I think that is an important point, because I remember, as a friend of mine said to me, like, the only thing worse than the wrong plan is no plan. And for me, that always stuck with me. Canadian guy, smart Canadian, white you, said to me, the only thing worse than the wrong plan is no plan. Let's have a plan. It's okay if it's wrong. It's okay. But when you have a plan, you already put yourself in like the top 10-15% of like humans on this planet. So you're ahead of the game already.
Yeah. So what is your plan? Are you going to be heading out to Ghana on a permanent basis?
Yeah, for sure. That is my plan. And my plan is I've always been like this from when I'm young. I work my life in like 5-year segments. So this 5-year segment is very much for me to further create the environment and the foundation for myself as a spirit and for my family. I'm the head of my family. I've got children, I've got a wife. I have to have a plan that is suitable for them in conjunction with my wife. But clearly you have to have some sort of basis. So that is something that's not built up overnight. So the next 3 to 5 years is very much, I'm building my own house there, which will double up into something for our people. But it's a family house, it's a legacy project in Accra. So to complete that, to build the business, to learn, to teach, and to evolve. And hopefully within that period, I will then have the foundation, the option to be in Ghana full time. When I'm in Ghana full time, then it's to continue this business, probably other businesses, but there's something greater and bigger down the line that I want to work towards. I'm 39 now, so I'm turning 40 very soon. And I think by 45, I'll be ready to start really doing some important stuff that hopefully will make a big difference to many more people.
Amazing. So inspiring also. We've got some more questions coming through, so I'm just going to select them. Okay. Let's see. Do you see an emerging area that is predominantly populated by young diasporans?
Probably not, but obviously when we go home, there's always places we end up gravitating towards, usually because of party. Usually because we've got a friend that lives in this area. Some of these places we go to are quite frankly out of our budget, but we can aspire and we can dream. So I don't see like there's any one place. Like you have Santol, which is an area a lot of people are going to. Prampram is an area people are going to. Abri, everyone that goes to Ghana that has the pleasure of going to Abri in the mountains, when you get to the mountainside, you see your city. It's pretty inspiring. But all of these things require a lot of money. Some of them, especially Abri, is very, very expensive up there. It's beautiful, but very, very expensive. But my philosophy is like, I never really want. I'm not someone that wants to be just with diasporans. As far as I'm concerned, everyone's my people.
Love that.
So, if you go to Ghana, you should be able to hang out with everybody. Yeah, there's this thing about security risk and whatever, but my philosophy is you're not better or worse than anybody else. It's like you can learn from anybody, so you should be willing to sort of mix with anybody. If you have a preference in terms of location because of distance to whatever you're doing, that's fine, but your spirit should be at one. So when I'm in Ghana, and I'm like that anywhere I am in the world. I've traveled everywhere, Asia, South America, wherever I go, my spirit takes me, and I learn and I teach. So I feel like it's important for people to be able to mix anywhere.
Yeah. I mean, could you give us some more, I guess, hotspots, like up and coming areas that you've identified as you want to be? So Prampram is obviously.
Prampram obviously is incredible. That's the reason why I've done serious stuff there. Dodo was a beautiful place, very mountainous, very lush. People are now talking a lot about East Legon Hills, which is in this wider Santot area. It's not actually that close to East Legon, but they've sort of colonized this name. It sounds pretty sexy, so people like it. So, but East Legon Hills is cool. These are new areas. These are areas that like 5, 6, 10 years ago were totally virgin areas. Some of these areas, if someone told you to move there, you'll be like, no way.
Exactly.
Now you can't get in there.
Exactly.
Then you've got places like Adenta, which is again pretty developed now and quite expensive. That's north of Accra. Some people, because of family or friends, they hang out in places like Kaswa and Wedja. Some people like that sort of Cape Coast type of feel. It all depends. I don't really want to pontificate to people about that, where all diasporans are going. All I can do is give an insight into what is viable in terms of in a reasonable way. You don't want to live. I don't want to go and live somewhere that's in the bush. But I'm going to wait 30 years for it to develop. Those sort of places, you take your kids there, they be like, "Daddy, what am I doing here? There's nothing to do." You take your wife there. You You can't even go for a meal. You can't go to cinema. You don't want to make those sort of kamikaze moves because, oh, the land's like, I don't know, 500 quid.
Yeah.
I know places you can get land like in Kumasi, dirt cheap, like farm dirt, like silly numbers.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't want to live there unless you have that passion to go into agriculture, whatever.
Yeah.
Angie's mentioned in Takrady, again, beautiful place. But it all depends on what your setup is and where you want to be. Most of us are living in major cities in the West.
Yeah.
So there has to be like a balance between being somewhere that's got that little bit of spunk and is accessible to the things that are important for your lifestyle.
You're absolutely right. And just touching on the farming and agriculture stuff, typically, what is the minimum, I guess, plot size for an agricultural or farming project?
Yeah, do you know, I think someone told me the average farm size in Ghana, I think it was like 5 acres.
Okay.
5 or 10 acres was the average size of a farm.
Okay.
Historically.
Okay.
Most of us Ghanaians, all of us, I would say, all our families are from farming backgrounds. Some of the families were like in the bourgeoisie, very well educated, they went into law, medicine and the rest, but most of us, our grandparents actually powered our families through farming. So I think typically farms are at small scale.
Okay.
And I have a lot of people, and I even have designs to get into agriculture, but the way I always see it for myself is small pilot projects, maybe 1, 2, 3 acres, fail fast, learn, get the right workers, and then you go and find a bigger piece.
Okay.
I will be taking on some agriculture projects. We will do big pieces and then parcel them up in 10 or 20 acre sizes. And either I will lease them to people to come and do these pilot projects, or we will sell them to people in the right places. And obviously,
Can you clarify what 5 acres is to 1 plot?
Okay, so 1 acre.
Yes.
Again, this is quite a good question. When you go to Ghana, a lot of people say, oh, an acre, 4 plots.
Right.
An acre is not 4 plots.
Okay.
A true acre is 6.25 plots.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah? So if you're talking 10 acres, technically you're talking 60 plots. Yeah, and especially that would hold true for agriculture because you wouldn't have a road network. You would just have a big piece of land. There'll be no roads in between. And if you've got 10 acres, you're technically getting 62.5 plots.
Okay.
Yeah, like in geometry terms.
Wow.
In measurement terms. If you're buying land, big pieces, obviously you have to have some consideration for roads, which you would lose some of your plots.
Right.
But whether, and I always say this to people, when people come through me or anyone else, if someone says it's an acre, you just want it, they will usually try and lean you towards 4 plots.
Okay.
So you just want to always clarify, is it 4 plots or is it an acre?
Okay.
They will usually say it's an acre. And then they'll be like, but it's 4 plots, it's not.
Okay, that's helpful. That's very insightful. Okay, I'm going to go back into the questions.
Yeah.
I've got, what do we hear? There are so many. Okay. Is this company owned by Ghanaian African people, not Chinese or European backed?
Yes, the company is owned by Ghanaians.
That's it. Thank you. No, you don't say. I think we've touched on this. Do you help buyers with building a wall around the land when they aren't able to develop immediately?
Yes. So what we do is we have, as part of the price, we demarcate the plot for a client. And what that means is this. You saw well and good buying a piece of land from somewhere. Mm-hmm. Land in itself all looks the same. Go to your local park, that's land. But how does someone know this particular area belongs to you? Yeah. Now, again, most people in Ghana, they'll put these tiny little pillars in. You can barely see them. They don't concrete them in the ground. Someone can come and remove them. Over time, you will go to areas and you don't even recognize. So what we do is, included in the price that we quote customers, is we go and install 7-foot concrete pillars all around the perimeter. Fantastic. And then again, most importantly, we put a placard. So the same material we use for the road signs, which is obviously weather resistant, it lasts forever. Yeah. We go and put your name, Miss R. Appiah, London, March 2021, bang. So that if someone comes or you go, you can see you've got your plot number, you've got your name, you know that's yours.
Yes.
Because, Raquel, nobody wants to buy land that belongs to somebody else. Yeah, there's a couple of different people talk about sort of encroachment and reselling, and that's so real. But a lot of people just buy land because that belongs to somebody else and they don't know. Yeah, you're not going to buy land that you know belongs to somebody that you shouldn't be buying from. But if there's no markers there, then obviously how are you supposed to know? You're then trusting someone else, and that's not going to fly. And then the other thing people do is that they don't want to do their due diligence. They don't want to spend the money, and they don't have the time to make sure that the land is genuine and they're dealing with the right people. So we demarcate plots, and you'll see some of the videos that we're putting up, and there'll be a lot more content to come. We've started that process. It's quite a big area, so we're going to make sure that everywhere is fully marked up, and as the customers come in, everyone gets their plots and it's all organised.
Lovely, 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 lovely. Okay, back to the questions.
There's a question here from Liza Bitty.
Yes.
She's asking me directly. Hi Lisa, I hope you're well. She's asking me directly what are the prices. And again, I just want to be very clear with the market here. We don't put our prices up on Instagram. Yeah, if you want something in life, my opinion, humbly and respectfully, is you've got to take a step. Yeah, and our step is to move people off Instagram, which we all know has its inherent risk. Come to the website. We've invested time, effort, and money to hopefully present it professionally. Submit your DLs. Be a pleasure to have your inquiry, and then there's a mechanism which will then expose and provide you with the insight of prices. Because obviously it's an important point. Now everyone wants to know how much these lands cost.
Yeah.
But for me, as a businessman, and as a patriot, I want to see the spirits that think to themselves, you know what, if I want land, if I want anything, let me take a step towards it. And that's literally just going on the website, reading, having a read of what's there, so you acclimatise yourself with the information and send an inquiry.
Yeah.
That's how we move.
Beautiful. Okay. So, can you speak on the sites we offer outside of Accra, why they were chosen, and what property acquisitions are on the horizon? Yeah,
so that's actually for my team. So this is, we have 4 sites in total. So Dodowa, which is the area sort of mountainous, more for the people that wanted to feel like they're in the Bree. Again, it's on the Bree's on the top end. You have this whole mountain strip that goes, it's miles and miles. Dodowa's on the southern side. We have an area called Chopoli, which is further on from Prampram. Chopoli and another site called Agator. Now, Chopoli and Agator are the areas which people tend to refer to as Airport City, because the air traffic coming into Ghana now, the sheer interest of people looking at Ghana, the government quite rightly accept that in the years to come, they have to have an option for a new international airport. Okay. Now, the site that's been earmarked for is a 60,000 acre site that the government have as state land. And people ask, okay, when is this airport going to come? And the honest answer, because we always have to speak the truth, is we do not know. Yeah. But I have official government documentation which shows specifically what they're going to be doing in that wider area. They call it actually the new Prampram airport, because Prampram is a little bit more sexy. They're tagging it to Prampram, but it's about a half hour away from Prampram. Okay. And obviously it's going to be a multi-use development or business centre, hotel. They're going to do work there. Okay. But I believe you're probably 5 to 10 years away from that happening. So those are the sort of 4 sites. Agator and Chopoli are very long-term bets. Right. They're places where if somebody said to me, oh, I want to buy and I'm going to build next year on that premise, I'll be saying to them, you've got to hold tight, because those areas are real virgin land. Those are areas that you buy for your kids. If you've got a 3-year-old and you buy in 20 years' time, your kid will be going to Ghana for Afro Nations, and they'll be like, Mum, Dad, you lot are just too shrewd for your own good. This area is wicked. I can't believe you had foresight. But they're slightly further out. So there's 4 sites. In terms of other areas that I'm looking into, I'm from Kumasi. Mm-hmm. I'm a Kumasi boy. I'm buying land in other people's manor, let's say. But I've got to make sure that I've got something in my own manor. That's it. Kumasi is real. Kumasi's really real. Kumasi's real Ghana. That's really real Ghana. And they're also developing their airport. That airport should be ready. I think it's finishing in about 6 months. So it's going to be an international airport now, as opposed to a regional airport. They'll be doing flights directly from London to Kumasi. So Kumasi's had a lot of investment over the past sort of 5, 6, 7 years. And yeah, I'll be imminently looking to do work in Kumasi. But again, I have to make sure that, from my opinion, it has the right logistics, the right fundamentals. Because again, I know my brothers and sisters on the outside. I'm not trying to take them to bushy bush.
Yeah.
Bush is lovely, yeah, it's lovely, but it's got to have something a little bit different. It's got to be accessible. It's got to be right. And if I can't get that spot, then I'm not interested. So Kumasi will be the next natural destination. And then over and above that, in the years to come, so long as I have the right people, then I want to offer something to my brothers and sisters from Yard, from the Caribbean. Obviously, I can't go and do. I've been to Jamaica 4 times. Wow. It's a blessed black nation in this world, 100%. So my wife's Jamaican. It's a real place, and I definitely want to offer something there. And Nigeria as well. Nigeria is, I've never been, but I've been called to go there. I have to go to Nigeria. Nigeria is not a joke. Nigeria is the country where Nigeria's sorted itself out. Africa will start rising because they've got numbers, serious numbers, and they've got a lot of land. But I know my Nigerian brothers and sisters, they don't play. You've got to be ready to handle them, and you've got to be ready to do work with them. Otherwise, they will take your trousers down. It's as simple as that. So, all of these things, it's like you've got to be ready. But Nigeria's a blessed place.
Love that. Okay, so have we missed the boat on Kumasi then, with the airport, you know, like imminent within the next 6 months being ready? Does it mean that nothing around there has gone? Like, has it already shut up?
Yeah, it's developed lovely. I'll probably post something then later on about that development. So it's coming on really nice. For those people that have used Kumasi Airport, I never used to use Kumasi Airport. I used to obviously drive. I just don't have the balls for it anymore. The road is just pretty hectic. It's a 4 or 5 hour drive. People are driving like that. So I fly to Kumasi now.
Okay. It's
30 minutes, very simple, in and out. And yeah, that airport's coming. And I wouldn't say people have missed the boat, but again, people tend to go to Kumasi for maybe cultural reasons. If you're going on holiday to Ghana, if you're from the Diaspora, you've got 2 weeks. I mean, going to Kumasi would take 3 days out of your trip. So you're having so much fun in the craft, especially those people that go around Christmas time. Yeah. The craft's hectic. It's like you don't want to leave because every night there's on. So unless you've got family there, a serious connect there for a reason, you wouldn't necessarily go. But yeah, I'll be spending more time in Kumasi. I'm from Ejusso, which is about 30 minutes outside Kumasi. So I go home to my family and go and pray, my hometown, all the rest of it.
Let me go back to the questions we have coming in, because they are coming in. Oh yes, this is a really good question.
Yeah, there is. It's a good question. So I think probably now I'll give a bit of insight into sort of the process. And it works like this. So the first thing is we offer people a site visit. So what does the site visit mean? You're not in Ghana and just go and spend 2-3 grand just to go to Ghana for land. I don't know if it's that sensible. We've got technology now. So we offer people a site visit with Nengi, who's in Ghana working very hard. And she goes to the site in question. She then does a video call with you and she shows you to the best of her ability the land that we have. And I charge for that. I charge because I want to invalidate time wasters. And it's obviously time, effort, and money. And I know that anybody serious will know that to pay a small drink as the start of their due diligence process, the smart people will know that it's a minor.
Right.
At that point, you then go to make a decision whether you want to go ahead or not. So then the really important part of the process is the due diligence. So we have another call where a customer will pick a site. I have obviously master plans for the site. And they pick a plot that their spirit connects to. And I tell the client that, look, we now need to essentially force you, but it's the right thing to do, to provide a site plan and to do a search on the plot, okay? So once the search is done, again, for the survey and for the search, we charge an amount. That's your first upfront fees that are included in the price. Okay. Now, in terms of the sort of my philosophy with payments, to address the question specifically, is that I don't like people being grabalicious for funds before it's due. I believe in intellectual conviction, and for people that are quite frankly naive to the process, they need to be taken on a journey. And that journey, as they go along, will provide them with comfort, and their own common sense will show them that what they're paying progressively is in line with the stages they're at throughout the transaction. So we get to a point where there's various payments. The first one being is set in short a 25% payment. Then there's another 25% payment at a particular stage, which is usually sort of 6 to 8 weeks down the line. And then there's a final 50% that is due. Now, my business decision was that if someone's paid in 50% of the purchase price, right, I know I've got a genuine customer.
Yeah.
I know I've got someone that really, really wants to own land in Ghana.
Yeah.
And at that point, my financial risk has been drastically mitigated.
Yeah.
So I offer customers that I want to offer to the option of paying the second 50% over 6 months, a monthly payment of equal installments over 6 months. Because again, I know that a lot of people want to floss on Instagram and Facebook, that they're swimming in money and they've got fast cars, eating at all the nice restaurants. But I know my people, we work really hard for our cash.
Yeah.
And sometimes cash is hard to come by.
Yeah.
It's not easy to save in this country. It's not that easy to have lumps of money. And I feel like someone that wants to help the motherland, someone that wants to help themselves, if I can, then I'll provide that option that the second 50% should be paid within the 6 month period on an equal monthly basis. That's for me, I feel like that gives people the option to aspire to dream, because again, everyone's got their financial responsibilities, to have a little bit of leeway. You know, if you're buying an asset, it's going to cost you some money. You can't get away from that.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if I can provide, I'm not trying to be a bank, and I definitely do not want to be a debt collector. I want to make sure that anyone that's doing that process has the option, ability, but are serious. And that's really it. So that's the current model.
Okay.
Now, that likely or possibly, again, with the counsel of my team and people that I trust, that also might change or might open it up a little bit, because so many people here, they buy cars, they buy stuff, they pay off over a longer period of time. And it's just for me to make the decision on what I want to do, whether it's a year, 2 years, what the terms would be. Again, I'm not a bank, and I definitely do not want to be chasing people. Oh, you owe money this month, that will kill me. I'm just not into that. So it depends.
Yeah. It's clear though that you are trying to give people an opportunity, real, honest, hardworking people, the opportunity to own land in Ghana. There's absolutely no doubt. So, you know, I salute, you know, your company and what you're doing. Okay, questions. Oh my goodness. All right. Okay, I'll go through all of them, but feel free to just give short answers.
Yeah.
Because of time. Okay, so is your company able to help build a house on a property or on a land? I guess they're trying to say they already have.
Yes. So if they've got the land, and again, I will check with the client that the land actually is theirs.
Yeah.
So I do not want to be building on land that doesn't belong to them.
Yeah.
So once I'm satisfied that the land is theirs, and if they've got their plans, fine, we can execute. If they don't have their plans, then again, we can help design for them and build. No issue. Actually, let me qualify that. So long as it's in the region, if you're sending me to Tamale, it's not going to work. So long as it's in the region that we can operate, we can do it.
Okay. Next one. We've already answered these questions. Do you sell homes as well? If you missed it earlier, just watch this back. This live will be saved, so you can listen back for anything that you've missed. What's the water security situation in the sites you were choosing?
Yeah, good question. So utilities work like this. Water, people will have to have their own poly tank. And what we do in Ghana normally is that you have water companies that come and deliver like 500 litres, which is a lot. It depends how big the house is and how much your water usage is, for like, I don't know, $12, $13. So it lasts pretty long. In most areas that are not fully developed, there's no piped water supply by the government. But the hope is that obviously as these areas fully develop, then the government will come and invest to provide water. The other issue is that so long as you're on the bottom strip of Ghana, typically you can't do boreholes because the water's salt water. Definitely in Prampram is salty water. If you're in Kumasi, everybody has a borehole because the water's clean. It's fresh water. So again, unless you're doing like reverse osmosis or something, you can't. It's hard for you to bore the water out.
Okay, thank you. Is it possible to buy more than one plot?
100%. I've sold plots, met multiple plots to people. I guess there's a limit for me. If someone comes in and wants to buy a huge amount, it depends what it's for. Okay. Because I'm not going to be selling land to someone at a vast quantity and then they don't come and develop and it becomes like a wasteland, and then you build plots next to it and then you're looking at open ends for forever. The question about the leases is important. If you're a Ghanaian citizen or you have a Ghanaian passport, the law dictates that you're entitled to and you should have a lease up to 99 years. So depending on the master indenture, you'll be 96, 97, 99 years. If you're a foreigner, the maximum lease you can have is, the first lease is 50 years. So what I do is that for a foreigner, and most of my clients will be foreigners, they get a 50-year lease to start, right, and they get automatic obligatory extension at the end of that 50 years for an additional 45 years. Okay. And again, it's me that's going to be providing that. If God gives me the life, all my children will be here to execute that for them. Now, for a lot of us say, well, buying land, why is it not freehold lease? That is the law and that's the constitution, and we do everything legally. For all intents and purposes, we believe it to be kind of like a moot point, because again, leasehold is the only vehicle by which land can be sold in Ghana. Everybody that's in Ghana, every house you see when you're rolling around is leasehold. Nobody would ever buy land if they felt that, oh, on a 50-year lease, someone's going to come and chuck me out, or 100. It just doesn't really work like that. But because it's the only legal structure that exists, it's the only one that we can engage in.
Okay. All right, we have 3 minutes left. I'm going to go through some more questions. Looks like we may have to come back.
That's fine.
Thank you so much.
It's been all about land today.
Literally.
Yeah, land, culture and tourism.
Literally, but we have to give the people what they want, right?
Of course. Cosy, yeah, if you're Jamaican, you've got a Ghanaian passport, yes, you're entitled to up to 99 years. What are the average land acquisition timeframes? Again, if someone says they can sell you a piece of land within 2 weeks or a month, they're lying. On average, you're looking sort of 4 to 5 months. It depends on the process and how quick I can turn it around. We always will under promise and over deliver. I've got people at the Supreme Court, at Lands Commission. I can do things really quickly, but we want to do things right, and it's got to be managed properly. So I would say 4 months, 5 months. Okay. Next question. Can we build the property to our own spec, or do we have to choose from your designs? You do not have to choose from my design, as long as the designs and the plans are in keeping with Ghanaian architectural laws and it's fit for purpose of a building permit. You can build whatever you want within reason. And when I say within reason, some companies have this stipulation where you've got to start building within 2-3 years. When I sell land to someone, it's your land, you can do what you want with it. What I do say is this: the only stipulation I give people is that if you're going to, or you have plans to either do a commercial building or build a house or a commercial building that's more than 3 floors, I want you to tell me up front, if you know up front, or when you're going to do it, I want you to have the respect to come and tell me, Quams, I want to build a 4-story building. And I will say to you, well, bro, that's cool, but Raquel's next to you, she's got a bungalow. If I let you build there, you're going to condemn her life. It's a pretty vast thing you're doing, and it's not going to be in the profile. So either I will have to relocate you, we work a deal, so I'll put you in a place where maybe I've put for larger buildings or commercial buildings, but that's my foresight and my planning to make sure that people, when they invest, they've got an element of courtesy and respect for the neighbours. It's not for me to dictate to people, you can't build this, you can't build that, but I've got to also think about other people. In terms of commercial, again, if you buy a plot and then a brother comes and wants to put a welder's yard next to you, I don't really like that, because it's going to be popping off every day, the noise, the dirt. it's not really cool. Again, we put you in a place which is going to be more for commercial people.
Fantastic.